Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're cutting through some of the real complexity you find when you start investing. Most of the conversation you hear is always about what to buy.
Right. Which stock, which fund?
Exactly. But our sources today really hammer home a different point, focusing only on the what and totally ignoring the how, the container you put it in. That can be an incredibly expensive mistake.
It really can. One expert we read put it perfectly. He said, the good tool doesn't guarantee the result, but it makes it possible. I mean, if you pick the wrong structure, you could lose, what, 30% of your gains to taxes, even with the perfect stock picks.
And that's the real danger we're talking about. So today we are going to move past all the noise of market predictions and really focus on that crucial step of how to invest.
We're looking at the three big accessible investment containers in France: the PEA, the CTO, and the assurance vie.
And our mission here is to make sure you walk away understanding that there isn't one single best choice. It all comes down to your timeline, your need for flexibility, and of course your tax situation.
Exactly. You have to unpack the rules to use the system instead of, letting the system use you. So let's start with the king of tax efficiency.
Let's do it. We're starting with the PEA, the plan d'épargne actions. If you're serious about building wealth long-term, you have to understand this account.
You really do.
The sources frame it so well. Fiscal intelligence is using the rules, not suffering them. And the PEA is just that. It's the ultimate reward for being patient.
It absolutely is. The core advantage is it's monumental, but it comes with a strict time commitment. It's built for investing in stocks, mostly European stocks, and eligible ETFs.
Okay, but what's the magic part?
The magic happens after you've held the account for 5 years. That's the key. After that 5-year mark, all your capital gains, so all the profit you make from selling, are subject to 0% income tax.
0%.
0%. Now, you still pay social contributions, that's important to note, but getting rid of that income tax bill completely changes your long-term growth.
That tax-free growth is incredible. But you mentioned something subtle in there, the idea of tax-free arbitrage. For someone who's a bit more active, that might be even more valuable.
Oh, it's hugely valuable. This is where the container really shows its power. In a normal taxable account, a CTO, let's say you buy a stock. It does well, you sell it.
You owe tax
Immediately. And that tax eats into the money you have left to reinvest. It's a drag on your compounding.
Right. A mandatory cut every single time you want to make a change.
But inside the PEA, once it's past that 5-year mark, you can sell a winner, you can take that profit, and you can reinvest 100% of it into something new.
With zero tax hit inside the account.
Exactly. You can rebalance, you can shift your strategy, and the tax man doesn't touch a thing until you actually pull money out of the account for good. That internal flexibility it's a huge performance booster.
Okay, but with great power comes great restrictions, right? And the first one is the limit.
Correct. The government is generous, but not infinitely so. You can only have one PEA per person. You can only put in a maximum of 150,000 euros.
And once you hit that cap, that's it. No more new money in.
That's it. Your existing investments can grow as much as they want tax-free, but you can't add any fresh capital.
And the other big hurdle, probably the biggest one for a lot of people, is the investment universe itself. It's restrictive.
It's the main drawback, for sure. The PEA is a French tool, and it's designed to encourage investment in European companies.
Yeah.
So that means you're mostly stuck with European stocks or ETFs that are structured to be PEA eligible.
So no buying individual shares of Tesla or Apple directly?
Nope. And you also can't hold things like bonds or those specialized real estate investments, the SCPIs.
Right, the Société Civile de Placement Immobilier. Can you just quickly explain what those are for people who might not know?
Of course. They're basically funds that let you own a small piece of a large portfolio of professional real estate offices, shops, that kind of thing. They're very popular for income.
But you just can't hold them in a PEA.
Simple as that. They're ineligible. If you want that kind of diversification, you have to look elsewhere.
And then there's the big flashing warning sign, liquidity. What if I need the money before 5 years?
Yeah, you pay a huge price. The general rule is pretty unforgiving. If you make a withdrawal before that 5-year anniversary, the entire PEA account is usually forced to close.
The whole thing?
The whole thing. You lose that precious tax wrapper, and all your gains become taxable immediately. It's a high-stakes bet on your own long-term discipline.
Which means picking the right provider from day one is critical. The tax rules are the same everywhere, so what should you be looking for?
It comes down to two things: costs and selection. First, compare all the fees, management fees, trading fees, inactivity fees. But just as important, you need to look at the list of ETFs they actually offer.
So a cheap broker isn't great if they only offer a handful of niche funds.
Precisely. You want a provider that gives you enough choice to build a properly diversified portfolio, even within the PEA's rules.
Okay, so we've covered the PEA. It's powerful, but it's strict, it's capped. So what happens when you fill it up or you want to invest in the rest of the world?
That is when you open a CTO, the Comptitre Ordinaire.
Hmm.
If the PEA is that high-performance race car with track limits, the CTO is, well, it's the all-access vehicle.
The monster truck.
The monster truck, exactly. One of our sources had a great line for it. Flexibility is a weapon, but it requires a disciplined shooter.
Because there are no constraints at all.
None. No contribution ceilings, no geographical limits, no restrictions on what you can hold. You want U.S. tech stocks. You got it. Global ETFs that don't fit in the PEA. No problem. Commodities, crypto, bonds, anything.
It's the perfect tool to complement the PEA and get that true global exposure.
Exactly.
So if the CTO is so free, why would anyone even start with the PEA? And the answer has to be tax.
It's always tax. That's the entire trade-off.
Yeah.
In the CTO, every single time you sell something for a profit, that gain is taxable right away.
No 5-year waiting period, no tax-free compounding inside the account.
None of that. The tax authority gets its slice immediately.
So what's the standard hit? What are we looking at?
Well, the default is the PFU, the prélèvement forfaitaire unique, or the flat tax. It's a single rate of 30%. That includes both your income tax and the social contributions.
30%. That is a massive difference from the 0% income tax in a mature PEA.
It's a world of difference. That 30% haircut on every winning trade really slows down your long-term compounding.
So choosing a smart broker to minimize other costs becomes even more important here. What's the key piece of practical advice from the sources?
Beyond comparing the usual fees like trading costs and currency exchange fees, the #1 administrative tip is to find a broker that provides an IFU.
An imprimé fiscal unique. Okay, that sounds very official. Why is that so important?
Because it saves you from an administrative nightmare. Since every sale is a taxable event, you have to track every single transaction for your annual tax return. If you trade a lot, this can be a disaster.
I can imagine the spreadsheet.
Exactly. The IFU is a single document from your broker that summarizes everything for you, all your gains, losses, dividends. It, and I'm quoting here, enormously facilitates your tax declaration. If your broker doesn't offer one, you are signing yourself up for hours of pain.
Okay, that is a fantastic tip. Let's move on to our third container, the assurance VI. The name life insurance it's really confusing for new investors, isn't it?
It's very confusing. People hear insurance and tune out, but they're missing its main purpose. It's a really powerful investment vehicle.
A hybrid tool, really.
It is. It's the most versatile of the three, but also the most complex. And it has its own completely different set of tax advantages.
So how does its tax system work?
The big milestone for an assurance VI is 8 years. Once your contract is 8 years old, withdrawals get very favorable tax treatment. You even get a generous annual tax abatement on your gains.
An abatement.
Yeah, so for a single person, for example, you can take out up to 4,600 euros of gains each year, completely free of income tax. It makes it a fantastic tool for generating extra income in retirement.
So 8 years for tax relief compared to 5 for the PEA. What else makes it so versatile?
Its structure. It lets you hold two very different kinds of assets in one place. On one side, you have these secured euro funds. Your capital there is guaranteed, so it can't go down. It's very stable, but the returns are pretty low.
The safe part of the portfolio.
Exactly. And on the other side, you have the units of account. This is the risky part, where you get your market exposure to stocks, ETFs, and even those SCPI real estate funds we talked about.
So unlike the PEA, an assurance VI can hold real estate funds. That's a key difference.
A huge difference. It can hold real estate, bonds, and give you that capital guarantee all in one package. But that brings us to the elephant in the room.
It always comes back to the fees.
Always. You know that famous quote from John Bogle, the founder of Vanguard?
What you don't see in the fees, you lose in the years.
That's the one. And it is the absolute mantra for anyone considering an assurance VI. The fees can be complex and much higher than with a simple PEA or CTO from a modern broker.
So what kind of fees are we talking about?
Yeah. You often get hit with multiple layers. There can be entry fees just to put money in, annual management fees that skim a percentage off your total balance, and even arbitrage fees when you move money between the safe and risky parts.
And those management fees really add up, don't they?
They're killers. An older contract might charge, say, 0.8% a year. That sounds tiny. But over 20 or 30 years, that constant drag will cost you tens of thousands of euros in lost growth compared to a low-cost alternative. You have to be aggressive in finding contracts that cut those fees.
And liquidity, how does it compare?
It's generally less liquid. While you can get your money out, it's not like a bank account. It can sometimes involve delays, so it's not quite as on-demand as a PEA or a CTO.
This has been a really clear breakdown. So choosing a structure is this balancing act between tax, freedom, and fees. Let's try to synthesize this for everyone.
Okay, so the PEA. It's the fiscal champion. 0% income tax after 5 years, but it's capped, and mainly for European assets.
Then the CTO. Total global freedom, no limits, but you pay for it with immediate, less friendly taxes, like that 30% flat tax.
Right. And finally, the assurance fee. The versatile one. Great for wealth transfer, has its own unique tax break after 8 years, but you had to be extremely careful about the fees.
So for someone just starting out, what's the strategic priority? What do the sources recommend?
The strategy that comes up again and again for long-term wealth building is very clear. Prioritize the PEA first.
Fill that one up before you do anything else?
Yes, aim to max out that 150,000 euro ceiling. The reason is that tax-free arbitrage we talked about. You want your biggest pool of capital compounding without any tax drag for as long as possible.
And only after that's full.
Only then do you start seriously funding the CTO to buy all the things that PEA can't hold, like your U.S. stocks or specific global funds. You're combining the PEA's tax shield with the CTO's global reach.
It's like getting the free lunch first before you go and pay for the expensive meal. It just makes sense. Where does the assurance fee fit into that strategy?
It's often a complementary piece.
Yep.
It's great for people who have already maxed out their PEA, or for those who really want that guaranteed capital from the Euro funds, or, of course, for estate planning. But for a pure, low-cost growth strategy, that PA2 combo is tough to beat.
It all comes back to matching the tool to your own timeline, doesn't it?
It really does. If you need the money in 3 years, the PEA is a terrible idea. If your goal is 20 years away, not using a PEA is a huge mistake.
And that brings us back to that little anecdote about the investor, Sandra.
Right, the woman who surprised her own advisor by specifically asking to open a PEA.
That story says it all.
It does, because a lot of traditional institutions might push clients toward products like assurance fee because they have higher fees, which benefits them. Sandra showed real fiscal intelligence. She demanded the tool that was best for her, not for the bank.
And in the end, the sources make a really powerful point that applies to all investing.
The main takeaway is this: the container, the account itself. It doesn't actually determine your performance. It only optimizes what you get to keep. The real driver of success is your own regularity, your strategy, and your discipline to stick with it.
We've built the foundation. We've seen that the best choice for you is the one that perfectly aligns with your own goals. Understanding the difference between a 0% exit and a 30% exit is, well, it's a difference between retiring well and just retiring.
And that leads to our final thought here. You have the structure now, but you're not done. It reminds me of that Charlie Munger quote. Take ideas where they are, but use your own brain to put them together.
So the homework is still there?
The homework is still there. We've given you the map, but now it's up to you to do the detailed comparison. Compare those fees down to the decimal point. Check the actual ETF lists on offer before you commit. The structure just sets the stage. Your discipline is what will truly drive your success.